So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us break down a recap of our last few summer months and just upcoming plans for the fall. So, for episode 166 of Eazy Conversations, I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. So, it's up to the people.
What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day right now. Very excited for today's episode, Eric. It's gonna be very relaxing. Really, really looking forward to talk about this. It's basically an extended episode of what we normally do at the end of each one. So I'm pumped. How are you doing right now, Eric?
Definitely doing great. Happily entering the fall months as the weather's starting to cool down a little bit. Still some nice week ahead of us there, so I'm going to be cramming in as much golf as possible. But when I'm not doing that and I need something to do, maybe at night, throw on a little movie. This is what we have prepared for you today. So we're going to be sharing just a bunch of movie recommendations, which we haven't really done in a while, and give a breakdown of the movies without getting into too many spoilers. And
Okay.
from my part, anyways, the movies that I have been watching are all available on streaming somewhere. So I'm going to be letting you know
Mm-hmm.
where you can watch them and if you want something to throw on at night or in the middle of the day or whatever. So, yeah, no, excited to get into these movies. We've actually done an episode like this in the past before. So for any new listeners out there, you can check out Movie Marathon Month. Don't remember the number associated to that, but if you just type that next to Eazy Conversations, that should pop up in your search engine. So yeah, no, Matt, do you want to kick us off with the first movie to get into and what potential viewers could expect from this flick you're going to talk about?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I enjoyed doing the last movie marathon month, and it's gonna be cool to look back. And I know we keep saying this, but like we get a pulse of where the movies were at in this time period, on streaming. And I have like I have movies that are on streaming and movies that are not available on streaming. I have a lot of variety too, Eric. So it'll be interesting. But let's kick us off with like the movie that was talked to death about in the 2023 roundup show, I believe. The top 10 movie show that we did with Nez and Dallas. This movie was talked about the most for sure that night. I finally watched it, Eric. It's on Netflix. It's the best picture winner of 2023, Oppenheimer. I finally rewatched it for the first time since then. And honestly, even better on rewatch. What you wrote in your review of that movie is so true. Putting on subtitles for actually like understanding, catching all the dialogue. That was a game changer, guys. So Oppenheimer, of course, about Cillian Murphy playing your title character. You're going through three different time periods in his life, like going back and forth at a rapid pace. So I watched this movie with my girlfriend who had never seen it before, and I was like, all right, let's see if she can follow this and know what's going on. She had no problem following this movie. She really liked it too, actually. But the subtitles again, their names are thrown like machine gun rapid fire in this movie, and the subtitles just help like remembering the names and knowing what's going on. Okay, so for the movie itself, Oppenheimer, what I liked on rewatch is I finally understood everything that was going on in terms of the Robert Downey Jr. storyline, which
Mm-hmm.
always confused me the first time because I was at the theater, it was loud, wasn't catching anything. So again, understanding the dialogue made me appreciate the movie even more. That's my first point. Second, the acting in this movie, everyone does a flawless job. To me, there's not one dull moment in this movie either. Like there's always something going on. You never have time to just take a pause and have like a quiet scene. It's just like on to the next thing. And having that score in the background subtly there and then crescendoing and then like maybe slowing down for a bit, but it's always there. I don't know. I felt the movie's very powerful too. Like it's got you can see the historical importance that's happening in the movie. Like at the moment, they know they're doing something that's going to change the world. The stakes are super high. I don't know. I was just the 3 hours to me went by super fast. First half is more sciencey. Second half, a lot of political stuff. Um, I don't know. I was blown away by the movie. We ranked it fairly high in when we did our top 10. And I don't know now if I would maybe have it as number one because I am trying to struggle to find any flaws in the movie. And I don't think there are any. But yeah, Oppenheimer, guys, if you haven't watched it, it is on Netflix. It's great. Um, I know Nez was raving about it for our guest on the show for a long, long time, and he may not be wrong. Christopher Nolan, can't wait to see his next movie, honestly, The Odyssey next year. Like, I hope it's not a Dunkirk. I hope it's another Oppenheimer. But yeah, did you want to? I know you rewatched it. Maybe did you watch it this year or last year? I can't remember.
I watched it last year again, and I'm honestly thinking of throwing it back on as well. I do feel like it is one you can kind of, maybe not every year, but every other year, rewatch, and you'll pick up some new things. In terms of the plot, I completely agree. I did find it a bit confusing to follow along the first time. Why is Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr., trying to trip up Oppenheimer or kind of take away his accolades? It wasn't always clear, and then it wasn't always clear who you should be rooting for at times either. But the second go around with subtitles, much clearer, and subtle performances by a lot of different actors who some of them are just in one scene, but no one wastes a breath or their opportunity to shine when they are on the screen, which is a big plus in favor of Oppenheimer. The score, I absolutely love it. I actually listen to it quite regularly as I work, just as like background noise, like fishing, Colonel Pash. Can you hear the noise? Classic songs. They definitely, like you said, add to the urgency of what's going on and make you feel kind of stressed at times, like the my favorite song is the Colonel Pash one, like the one scene that Casey Affleck is in.
Oh yes.
Unbelievable scene. Whenever that pops up on my Twitter feed as like, oh, Casey Affleck cooked in this scene, I have to watch the clip. It's so good. So yeah, no, Oppenheimer, if you've only seen it the one time, definitely recommend a rewatch. And if you haven't seen it by now, for sure check it out. For me too, I was actually looking at on Letterboxd, I have like a top 2023 movie list. I have it at number 5. I'd probably move it up to like 3, maybe 2. Honestly, it's still Godzilla -1 would still be number 1 for me, but it'd probably be right there with like Spider-Man into Across the Spider-Verse. Like I love that movie too, so it'd be one of those two at number 2. But it is better than I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. Love the movie, but I think Oppenheimer's a better movie, so that would be my reshuffling. But no, really good first one to start us off with. I'll go in a different direction here, just chronologically in how I've watched these movies. A 1981 flick starring James Caan in the titular role, Thief by Michael Mann, a famous director who I think is most well known for Heat, which there are similarities between Heat and Thief in that these are heist movies. You got a main character who is, as is indicated in the title, a thief, doing these jobs for a mob organization that enlist him. He didn't really realize what he was signing up for, only kind of counted on doing one last job with them, but then he realized that he may have gotten himself mixed up with the wrong bunch. And just kind of the whole story or the journey that Khan goes through in this movie I was hooked the whole time. Some good action in here, great dialogue. It had some really funny lines. I don't remember off the top of my head here, but it's an old school movie, right? Like that 80s classic vibe where yeah, maybe at times it's a bit dated or they go over the top of the slow motion explosions and everything there. But if you just you know what you're signing up for, you'll enjoy this movie, I think. Thief, playing on Prime Video. Really good stuff. Classic James Caan performance and a good heist movie. Like if you're a fan of the heist subgenre, you'll definitely enjoy this movie, I think. And it kind of reminded me at times of the movie Drive. Like it has a similar vibe of like the nighttime lo-fi. I'm sure the director took some influence from Thief here. So yeah, Thief, first recommendation for me.
That's an awesome pick, Eric. Thief. I remember blind buying this movie because the Criterion Collection put it out, and I used to buy all the releases. And this movie did not disappoint. James Caan, known to most people as Walter Hobbs from Elf, and I mean James Caan is a badass actor, phenomenal, powerful. Like you see him in The Godfather as the brother, and he's not in there long, but he's amazing. He's in there most of the movie. Like he's our main character. And it's the first time I'd seen him as like, what is it, 81, the movie? I also remember good performances, small performances, but good by Willie Nelson and James Belushi in the movie. A young James Belushi and Willie Nelson, just like a scene maybe in jail, and it's really good. The soundtrack, I think, is Tangerine Dream. It's like very 80s synthy, but it's very memorable. And Michael Mann does that a lot in his 80s movies in the 80s. Like his Manhunter movie has the same soundtrack. People who do the soundtrack, amazing. You can see where like Michael Mann gets his, like, Heat and all his later movies are inspired by like Thief and Manhunter. You can see those influences. Absolutely, Eric has an 80s vibe, but was also made in the beginning of the 80s, so it still has that 70s influence as well, which is great. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched the movie here, but I still remember specific moments, like when they're doing the heist, and maybe Michael. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the ending too much, but
great ending. Sorry, that was what really
I remember
solidified it for me. The ending is awesome.
Okay.
Like that was the big like. All right, this is 4 stars confirmed. Great movie.
I think I remember the last shot too. Like it's pretty like epic. After what unfolds.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to watch a great James Caan performance, this is the one. He's been acting since the late 70s into the 5 decades, right? And he's great. Did you write in your review on Letterboxd? Did you write like it's like a Walter Hobbs origin story or something like that?
Just had a rare one-liner review from me. I said, so this is how Walter Hobbs ended up on the naughty list.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good reference. But no, I implore everyone to check out Michael Mann's other movies like Heat, Manhunter, even Miami Vice. I heard it's really good. It aged really well. The Jamie Foxx, Colin Farrell movie from '04. I only seen it once, and I kind of dismissed it, but I bet you like it's a good rewatch. No, good pick, Eric. I didn't even know it was on Prime, honestly. I kind of forgot about that. I forgot that you had watched it, so that's a great starting point, Eric. Do you have anything else you want me to jump into my next movie?
No, that was it for Thief for me. Like you said, check out Heat also if you haven't seen it. Michael Mann as well, great movie.
I think Heat's one of the best movies of the 90s, like easily. My next movie is also is now Netflix too, as is Oppenheimer. My next movie is The Thursday Murder Club, a Netflix exclusive or original, I should say. This movie was really fun to watch. It's a mystery drama, a bit of comedy in there. It takes place in like an old folks home at this giant estate that acts as an old folks home, and it stars Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, what's his name, Ben Kingsley. It's got a stacked cast basically. This is the strength of this movie, the acting. Helen Mirren is phenomenal in this movie. They basically, that little group at the old folks home formed a Thursday Murder Club. They try to solve like old cold cases. The movie starts with one of our main characters, like she's being dropped off there by her daughter saying like, here mom, you're going to like it here. And then she meets Helen Mirren in the Thursday Murder Club. Lo and behold, another murder happens, and then they want to solve that one. It had a lot of like only murders in the building vibes. Honestly, that's a good way to describe this movie. Only murders in the building vibe. And this movie is very simple at its core, like an Agatha Christie style murder mystery, but it's heightened by the acting of Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley. The supporting characters are all great too. Like you'll recognize a bunch of great actors. They spared no expenses for like the budget for the acting. Very good pace to this movie, good dialogue, good acting. Those are the 3 big things for this. Very easy to watch, Eric. Like, like I said, the pace. You're not gonna regret your time with this movie. Although maybe you'd be wishing for maybe more complexity and maybe some more twist in the end, but super easy watch and fun watch. It's on Netflix, Thursday Murder Club. I highly recommend it.
Okay, right on. I had seen that as like a promoted movie on Netflix, since they always do heavily promote their own content. Go
Mm-hmm.
figure. But no, right on. I feel like this does sound like a lighthearted, good vibes, even though obviously it centers around murderous activity. But there's some intrigue there. I'm assuming a twist or two along the way. So this would be a one to throw on if you want something I think a little lighter than an Oppenheimer, perhaps. A good contrast
Mm-hmm.
there with those two picks, like that. I'll go with my next one. Also on Prime, another back-to-back 1981 here. Brian De Palma's Blowout star. So the movie's called Blowout, starring John Travolta. So the general plot here is John Travolta plays a sound guy, essentially a sound editor for movies, and he's out doing some recording at night, just capturing different sounds in nature, essentially. A croaking frog, an owl hooting in the night. And then he stumbles upon a murder that occurs, or a car accident, I should say. Then he jumps to rescue the woman in the car, and he eventually becomes involved in trying to solve the murder. So this is basically a Thursday Murder Club continuation in a sense. So he becomes actively involved in the case with the woman in the car, and of course there are different players that emerge. Is this a cover up? Was this an accident? I don't know. So there's a lot going on. I was really into it the whole time. I will say though, just a disclaimer, the end wasn't necessarily the strongest. It wasn't bad, but that I might have wanted a little more at the end. But honestly, I will say it doesn't end in a way that you would have expected it to. So that could be a plus. That's just personally for me. It didn't all land at the end. That being said, though, very enjoyable ride. John Travolta was solid. I thought it had some funny moments too, some unexpected twists along the way. And again, there's something about that 80s old school cinema that I just enjoy. Like I've said it before on the pod, where it's not perfect, crystal clear quality. It's a little dusty, unrefined. I enjoy that. And I will say, too, it'll really make you appreciate how difficult it was to engineer sound in movies back in the day, and just seeing the old school technology that he uses. Like you really see his process working on these movies, and that's what they used to do back in the day. So if you have an appreciation for that, or just want to see what old tech used to look like, this was really cool, and I enjoyed watching him like work the tapes to try to piece together how this potential murder happened through the recording that he had done. It was really cool. So I'd recommend Blowout on Prime. Brian De Palma is the director, so he did Mission Impossible 1 and Scarface, I think, are his two other most well-known movies.
That's another fantastic pick. I don't know if he did this on purpose, but this is another Criterion Collection film
Cool.
that I have on Blu-ray. And okay, Brian De Palma. First of all, I really like Blowout too. By the way, I haven't seen it in years, but I still remember a lot of it. Brian De Palma, before he did like Scarface, Mission Impossible, he did a lot of like Hitchcockian influenced thrillers and movies like Blowout, in the sense that like there's a murder, we got to solve it. Movies like Sisters and Dress to Kill, Body Double. Like he's very Hitchcock influenced. This movie, however, is influenced by an Italian-British film called Blow Up. And Blow Up, very similar. Instead of a sound mixer, designer, editor guy, it's a photographer who inadvertently captures a murder on his camera at the park. And then he has a lot of scenes where he's investigating, blowing up the picture. And the scenes of John Travolta, like re-listening to the sound a million times, is heavily inspired by this other movie from the 60s. And that's what De Palma does best, is he takes an idea or tributes a master, kind of like Tarantino does, but like puts his own spin on it, and a lot of the time improves on the original, like that he's trying to tribute. Travolta was good in the movie. I remember the movie opens up with like, you think it's like a slasher movie, but it ends up being like he's at the theater doing the sound for that. I thought that was memorable. The whole limo thing that he records is cool. Like the more you dig deep into the thing, you're like, oh shit, this is like there's more substance than I thought. I think the first half, the investigatory part of the movie is, like you said, better than the payoff. I don't remember the payoff being memorable. Anyways, we're not going to get into it. But I remember also Nancy Allen's in the movie. She's in a lot of his movies, the female actress in the movie, and she's really good. She was big in the 80s, especially in every De Palma film. What did you think of Travolta? Like, he gets a bad rap and sometimes, like, one-dimensional, but I thought he was very serviceable in this movie. And the 80s... Like, a lot of his Blowout, honestly, Eric's a good example. Like, a lot of his movies in the 70s and 80s, De Palmas, are like exactly like Blowout. And if you guys enjoyed this movie, I would seek out, like, Dress to Kill, Body Double, Sisters. Like, he's got a lot of solid Hitchcockian thriller mystery movies like that. And he was a big part of that. And that allowed him to do his big Hollywood movies in the 90s after, and Scarface, which was also in the 80s. But... great pick, Eric. I'm loving these two first picks, like, right off the bat.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll go with one on Prime. I rewatched it for the first time since it came out. It's The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Nice.
I saw part 3 was on Netflix, so then I'm like, I gotta rewatch part 1 on Prime. Mackenzie, my girlfriend, had never seen it before, and I'm like, all right, easy decision. In fact, I didn't even think she had seen any Denzel Washington movies, which blows my mind right off the bat. I was like, all right, we need to watch one of them right now. The Equalizer, very mysterious movie where Denzel, you don't really know what he did before in the movie. He's just quietly working at a Home Depot-esque store. The movie takes its time to get into it. You just see his day-to-day life at the beginning, and then it goes into it explodes into like an action revenge movie, basically. Maybe even a thriller, you would say. An incident happens with the Chloe Grace Moretz character that he befriends at the diner every night, and it just goes from there. So this is about a man who you don't like, with a man of unknown origins who instantly explodes into violence when confronted with, like, you got to do the right thing here. What I liked about The Equalizer is it takes its time to tell its story. It's not super fast paced or super frantic with the editing like a Bourne Supremacy movie or the Jason Bourne movies, but it's once it gets going, you're hooked. You care about the characters, and then once the violence and the action and the fight scenes happen, it gets really, really good, Eric. And the climax to me is super memorable, amazing. There's some really cool stylistic shots, cool badass action. This is a movie you've seen before in the sense, like, it's got John Wick vibes. It's got even that movie Nobody. It has some of those vibes. The director of the movie, Antoine Fuqua, he directs Denzel in a lot of movies, and he always highlights his acting capabilities and just his badassness in general. He's the director who did Training Day, which Denzel won an Oscar for. But The Equalizer is really good. I know it's based off a TV show, actually, from the 80s, and they even remade the TV show with Queen Latifah later on. But The Equalizer, to me, is a very solid drama, action, thriller movie. Takes its time to tell the story. But to me, that's important because, I mean, I can watch Denzel Washington in anything. I don't care if he's just reading a book in a diner and chit-chatting. He's great. Acts more without talking, more of his facial expressions, his looks. He's a very quiet guy in the movie until he isn't. The bad guy in the movie is also really, really memorable. Played by an actor, I think his name's like Martin Koska, but you've seen his face in a million things. Like, he's in Kingdom of Heaven. He's in a bunch of movies as like a side character. But The Equalizer, very solid, and some really cool action sequences too. It's on Prime. I recommend that movie to anybody. It's just classic Denzel Washington.
Is am I remembering this correctly, or is the RZA in this movie?
No, I believe that's it. That's you're remembering Nobody. I
Nobody.
think
Okay.
he's in that movie.
Right, right,
But
right.
very similar movies.
Yeah,
Very similar
exactly.
movies
Like
there.
I have seen Equalizer, and I what I remember is like you said, he works at the hardware store, and it actually features this movie features something that I just like in general. Whenever movies or shows do this, is when a character goes to a hardware store to assemble makeshift weaponry, booby traps, what have
Yeah.
you, and they always just take out the nameless and faceless morons rolling in with their AR-15s loaded up to the gills with like red dot laser pointers and all those dual mags. You know, it's no good for. It's not doing anything against the nail bomb that this guy put together, like by taping some spheres together and just packing them ready to explode. So I love that. And Denzel, I recall, had a lot of classic quotes in that movie too. He's just a philosophical mind. Like one that I'll always
Yeah.
remember from Equalizer is when you pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud. That's just all
Good
time
memory.
quote.
Yeah.
So
That's good that you. Yeah. Nice.
Equalizer. I didn't remember the RZA, but you don't forget the rain and mud quote. But no, that's good stuff. Yeah, Equalizer. I haven't seen 2 or 3, but I really enjoyed the first one, and definitely recommend as well.
Awesome. Yeah, 2 is solid, and it's got Pedro Pascal in it. He's great. 3 I haven't watched yet, but I will very soon.
Nice. So my next one will be it's a 2025 movie actually, also on just riding this prime train right now, starring Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. Black Bag.
Mm.
So the spy couple mystery thriller in which right off the bat Kate Blanchett is accused or assumed to be involved in leaking central intelligence to another government party, Russian party. And Michael Fassbender, who is her husband, is presented with this information. Is like, shit, all right, now I got to kind of investigate my wife. Is she the one who did this? He also has another list of potential candidates to have done the leak as well. So the whole movie, you're kind of trying to figure out who's the leak, who's being set up, who's lying, who's not. And for me, what I was kind of surprised at was how open all of these agents who are suspected were with one another, even though you know that a lot of them are scheming, double crossing one another. You don't know who's working with who. And that was my favorite thing of the movie is it's basically 6 characters who all interact with one another, and it sets the tone with a very early on dinner scene with the 6 characters in which there's revelations being made, hard hitting questions are posed, character assassinations are done, figuratively speaking, of course. But really good dialogue. That was one of my big takeaways. Like, this is not an action movie at all. You may think spy, you're gonna see a lot of explosions, the Equalizer style. There may be 1 or 2 in there, but they're not necessarily what you'd expect along the way. So it's just really the keeping you on your toes, second guessing everything, not knowing who to trust that I really enjoyed in this movie. Yeah, the acting, the writing, top notch. Not overly long. Also clocks in at a buck 30, 94 minutes, and yeah, no, one that once you know how it ends or what the twist is, you could probably rewatch and be like, "Oh, it was so obvious." I feel like most of these movies are like that, but the whole time I was just thinking like, all right, who's the rat essentially? So when a movie really can get you engaged like that the whole time and know that there's not a single wasted line of dialogue in there, they're doing something right. So Black Bag, definitely a recommend. One of my favorites of the year so far for sure.
Oh, another fantastic pick, Eric. I loved it too. When a movie can exchange car chases and action for intense dialogue scenes and make it just as exciting. You know they've hit the nail on the head.
Yep.
And the length of the movie and the pacing too is a really strong point. I wasn't bored for a second either. The supporting actors were great too. I mean, Fassbender and Blanchett are like acting veterans, pros, can watch them in anything. But like Pierce Brosnan's character was really good too, and Naomi Harris, they were great. I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was good. They were all good. The six at the dinner. It's almost like a game of Clue where it's like, oh, is it this person that did this? Is it, the more that, like, once you reveal, like, Fassbender figures more and more out, you're like, this is so cool. You want to rewatch it. Well said. Everything you said was great, Eric. The director, Steven Soderbergh, he's like a veteran of countless movies. He's done every genre, like from Ocean's 11 to Contagion to... You also made a horror movie this year called Presence. That was really cool, like shot from a ghost's perspective, basically. That movie was wicked. But Black Bag was really good too. This guy, like I said, the variety of movies he makes is amazing. I'm glad you liked it, Eric. I loved it too. I saw some reviews of it that weren't like super high, and I'm like, okay, I'll have lower expectations. Frank, this movie blew me away. It was short. It was in, out, great acting, great dialogue. Like, what more do you want in a movie? Good subject matter as well. So, I'm glad you spoke about this movie, Eric. It's great. Okay, for my next movie, I'm going completely different direction here with a pretty, great horror movie in my opinion from 2025. I'm kicking myself right now because I said I would look up where this movie's from before we started recording, and I forgot. But this movie's called The Ugly Stepsister, and it's definitely Eastern European or German. Maybe you can do me a solid, Eric, and look it up. The Ugly Stepsister. It's streaming on Shudder, which is like a horror streaming thing. You can get it through Amazon. It's a dark Cinderella retelling. This is what this movie is. Focusing on the stepsister character, so like Cinderella's stepsister. Nowhere in the movie do they say Cinderella or allude to it, but you know right away it's Cinderella. The time period, the mom arrives with their two daughters, marries Cinderella's dad. He passes away. You guys all know the story. This movie focuses on the prince, basically. The girls wanting to go to the ball and hook up with and marry the prince, and they're going to do anything they can to achieve that dream. So the ugly stepsister, the stepsister character, we're following her, the movie, from her perspective. She is not, to her, she can't hold a candle up to Cinderella. So she is questioning her looks. And basically this movie, Eric, turns into a body horror, dark, twisted, like gruesome movie where the mom brings the stepsister to her own daughter to this doctor who starts like changing the stepsister's face like via medieval like plastic surgery ways. So it's kind of very gnarly in that respect. So the stepsister will do anything to Prince. They go to this like class where they learn how to dance and act like a lady. And Cinderella's eclipsing her in every moment. She's prettier. She's more graceful. But her stepsister character doesn't care. She's like, I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to change my face. So she goes to the doctor is insane. Like when he's like chiseling away at her nose. And it's really gnarly movie. Not an ounce of comedy, I swear to God. But it's a dark fairy tale. So the sister is going through all these crazy methods. And then as this is going on, it's the classic Cinderella story where, like, the ball happens, Cinderella comes, like, she's told not to go. They make sure she's locked away. She ends up going anyways. This movie trades all those songs and joyous moments from Cinderella and has more of, like, a body horror, dark, psychological character study vibe. What's funny is, like, the stepsister in the movie, like, she's not, the actress is super pretty who's playing her, but, like, she's always saying, like, oh, I'm too ugly, I'm too big, but she's not. At the end of the day, it's funny. And then it culminates, Eric, into really, like, you kind of look away, but, like, there's some really, like, not disgusting, but gruesome scenes visually, and I kind of love it, actually. I'm not going to lie. I kind of dig these movies that are dark, and not for any, like, you can't just watch this any time of day. You have to be in the right mood. Um, yeah, I loved it. If you guys like horror movies and think nothing good comes out, nothing original, The Ugly Stepsister's there to prove you wrong. Um, it was fairly, like, it went to the theater for a bit, and it isn't known. It's going to be a contender for, like, best horror of this year for sure. Dark Cinderella fairy tale retelling. Um, Very gnarly. That's a good adjective to describe the movie. Gnarly, gruesome. I lapped it up, Eric. I loved it. So yeah, The Ugly Stepsister from this year. Really, really good horror movie.
So I could be butchering the spelling here, but it's Den Stige Testosteron. It's a Norwegian film, and
Okay.
honestly, while this genre is not my preferred go-to, I do think that these kind of movies are what any live action adaptation of a well-known fairy tale or animated classic should be, in that stop just taking the source material and giving us a copy paste version that we've seen already and it works better in the animated format. Give us a retelling of the story we know so well from a different point of view with some twists in there. I feel like this, and you're saying it's getting critical acclaim as well in the horror sphere. You know, the live action movie starring Lily James as Cinderella. I haven't even seen it. I feel like no one talks about these movies. They get made every year, and if anything, they tend to bomb critically. Commercially, maybe they make a bit of money, but they're forgotten as quickly as they came. So it's maybe movies like these that we should be looking more to when it comes to retelling or re-showing the same story. I feel like that could be better for the classic Disney stories. Give us a little twist on the story we already know. Otherwise, what's the point, you know? So that'd be my spiel on the Norwegian flick.
Well said, Eric. And yeah, it definitely had a Scandinavian vibe, but I couldn't, like, to me it sounded more German, but it's Norwegian. There you go. Thanks for looking that up for me, Eric.
No
Totally
problem.
forgot to do that. Yeah. The Scandinavian movies, very raw movies and to the point, and they're kind of bleak. Like, think of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, like the Swedish film, the original, like super bleak. They excel at mystery thrillers, and it's definitely a horror movie for where it goes, but like it's definitely the dark atmosphere that dominates this movie. And I find those Scandinavian atmospheric movies they do it some of the best. Like, they do it really well. And I hear, like, their books too are amazing. Like, Scandinavian authors or murder mysteries are phenomenal. Their detective stories are always a highlight. Mostly from my parents I hear, but yeah. So check it out, The Ugly Stepsister.
Okay, right on. So mine will be a complete change of pace from The Ugly Stepsister here, in that we're talking darkness and bleakness, which you actually could interpret this movie as if our society ever got to that. But I'm going to go with 2018's Steven Spielberg directed Ready Player One, which in this movie, if you're not familiar, there's this real life style video game environment that's been created by this man, in which players throw on a virtual headset, a bodysuit even, and log into this oasis, is what it's called, and they just live their lives online in this real world simulation, essentially, where they can kind of just be who they want to be, interact with others, present themselves differently. Like, there's characters who we come to meet later in the movie that in real life it's a woman in the video game environment. She's a 7 foot tall, like, giant kind of human. Like, it's people are kind of just being whoever they want to be on them in this environment, and it was really cool. I liked it a lot. And in the movie, the creator of this oasis has died, and he's set out this One Piece-esque treasure map contest in which contestants can compete for the right to, I think, to own the oasis, to have it be theirs. And if they make it through the challenges that he's set out along the way, they're the ones who now own this digital space that he's created. So really cool environment and concept. I thought it's a dystopian sci-fi movie. Obviously, there, like, you see our main character is kind of living in the slums of Columbus, Ohio, in the year 2075 or whatever it is, and but his escape from that bleak lifestyle is when he hops on to be his alter ego Parzival, and he interacts with a lot of characters along the way, notably Olivia Cook's Artemis, who's also somewhat of a famous figure in the Oasis, and they interact together. And there is this kind of cliche, but I still enjoyed it, like, rebellion that happens in the movie where I think the literal lines "Welcome to the rebellion" are uttered. I kind of rolled my eyes at that, but that's a staple in any uprising young adult movie. And I just liked the landscape, everything that they're able to do in this digital space, where they had a bunch of references to different movies, TV shows, pop culture, non-stop. Like, there is obviously a very long sequence that takes place on the set of the movie The Shining, so I'm sure you appreciated that, Matt. And it was cool. Like, I really liked everything they did in there. Nothing was boring. It was really limitless how many things they could throw at the screen at us.
Right.
And a good performance too from Ben Mendelsohn as the villain. He's kind of like the head of the other organization that's trying to vie for control of the Oasis. Sorrento is his name. Just a classic, like, business guy. Doesn't know what the Oasis is truly about. He's in it for the wrong reasons, kind of thing. Yeah. So there's definitely some things you've seen before in a bunch of movies, but it was fun stuff. I actually will say one point in the movie did remind me of the classic, like, we need to band together and fight against this big entity who's suppressing us. It was like I forget her name there, but Paul Rudd's daughter in Quantumania, when she fires up the signal to rally everyone in the quantum realm to fight against Kang, except done well. I enjoyed it in this movie. But anyway, so yeah, Ready Player One, definitely a good vibes movie. I'd rewatch this probably in a year or two for sure. Just a lighthearted movie, cool concepts, good action, great characters you want to root for, and just, yeah, a unique premise, like Westworld-esque, but PG-13 Westworld.
Wow, I'm super glad you enjoyed this, Eric. I saw this at the theater. The first time I saw it at the theater, I thought it was one of the best movies ever. Like, I had kind of my blinders on my first time watch, like, blown away by the visuals. I rewatched it at the theater, loved it again, but, like, temper my, like, I was like, all right. I do that a lot at the theater. The first time I watched it at the theater, I'm like, I think it's the best thing I've ever seen. But honestly, visually, like, I was blown away. That was my first impression. This is an homage to video games, to pop culture in the 80s, the music, the movies. This movie, maybe in an overdose of references, honestly, that you'll only get them all after maybe like 10, 15 viewings. Definitely. I've seen this movie probably like 6 times now, Eric, and like I still catch little background characters and like, who the hell is that character? Probably from a video game I've never played, but it's there, Yeah. Just walking down, like, the scene in the archives with all these different the avatars, basically all the avatars you can be. So many references. I love just the fact, like, his character's name is Parzival. That's like the knight of the round table who was searching for the Holy Grail, and that's what he's got. Kind of our heroes do a journey right now, searching for like the key or the treasure. And there's 3 Easter eggs, 3 keys to find. To get that golden Easter egg at the end. I love the whole ending too, like the whole, when you reveal like where it is and what it is and what it represents. Really cool. Mark Rylance as Gallagher, the creator of the game. He's great. Even Simon Pegg, his buddy. Good stuff. Maybe it suffers from like everything's super coincidental, like everything happens so fast at the end.
Yes.
But I don't care. I that's like every action movie trope, right? And Spielberg does it a lot in his movies, but honestly, he's the master at it. This movie just puts a smile on my face. crazy action too, like during the rallying moment, Eric, like you seeing stuff from your childhood, like you said, the Iron Giant Mecha Godzilla fight, stuff like that. Amazing. Going into like a horror movie from the 80s, The Shining, that was cool. I rewatched it this year too, Eric, and I don't get bored watching this movie. I love it. Cool soundtrack. This one, you gotta, like, subtitles help too, because the rapid fire, they're spitting lines in this movie so fast where if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss something. The dialogue is a lot of exposition on the plot, focuses more on that than like funny banter, but there's also that funny banter too. It blends the two things, but there's a lot said in this movie. It is an overload of like 80s, an excess of it. When I watched it with Mackenzie, she like kind of got disconnected because of that. It was too much for her, but me and you, like, we lap that all up, right? Like video games, movies, music, that's our stuff right there. And I'm glad you loved it. I'm glad Ty Sheridan, like, where is he now? I don't know where he is, our main character. Like, I thought he did a great job. You called him, like, would you call him, like, Discount Barry Keegan?
Yeah, something like just that. Played by not Barry Keegan. Like, he looked exactly like him. I don't know what that guy's doing. Ty Sheridan, like, he was in Deadpool 2. I don't know in what capacity, though. I don't know. I feel like you just don't see that guy in anything.
Yeah. But Spielberg's done this throughout the ages, right? 70s, 80s, 90s. He'll come up with, like, something relevant of the times and just nail it. I don't know. You seeing a small filmography for him?
Yeah, so he played Cyclops, I guess, in the prequels. I haven't seen Dark Phoenix. I guess that's where he has a bigger role, but yeah.
It's terrible, yeah. Maybe that says something to his acting ability.
Yeah, like, he was fine in the movie. I didn't dislike him, but there's some funny moments with him, I found. Like, just his, like, inexperience with anything in the real world, right? Like, with girls and stuff. Like, he's just, like, afraid to take the shot, and then, like, you know, it's very predictable, a lot of the stuff that happens, but you know what? Like, you need those kind of movies sometimes. Like, they can't all be thinkers and no exposition whatsoever. Like, complex David Lynchian, like, plots, you know? So.
Well said, Eric.
Yeah.
Like, after watching The Ugly Stepsister, this is the movie I want to watch. Just puts a smile to my face. It's a movie that explores the love of video games, pop culture, you know, like I just repeated myself. What do you think of The Oasis, Eric? Like, to me, like, that could totally happen one day in the future and people all living their lives through it. Would you be joining this video game, Eric? Would you be playing this?
Yeah, that's the thing. So actually, I was gonna write in my review too that this is like what Mark Zuckerberg wants Meta to be, right? Didn't he launch like a few years ago this like online, everyone's gonna be living their lives through this this avatar of theirs, and I feel like it completely flopped, or it's just not ready. It was never ready. I don't know, but yeah, like that's something that you could easily lose yourself to, and then that becomes what you look forward to it every day, where like I have my life online, and that's where I want to be. And my 9 to 5 years, like, it becomes even harder to do your job, which you may already not like, and then you're just looking forward to that sweet escape of the Oasis. Like, that's where I'd be afraid of really wanting to invest time and energy into that, where you're like, I hate my life now because this has so many other opportunities and possibilities for me. Like, it's a dangerous game, and I feel like they kind of explore that in this movie, but not really, though. They really just showcase the awesomeness of it, right? Which I feel like, you'd want to try. Like, I wouldn't be like, no, I don't want anything to do with that, but you'd have to be careful is the only thing. But it could be super cool where, like, I don't know, maybe that's a way where you can meet up with your friends who don't live in the same city as you, and you golf in the Oasis or something. I don't know. Like, it could be super cool.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's definitely something that you wouldn't want to dismiss for sure.
Yeah, they really just scratched the surface with that. I would try it out too. What would be cool, or maybe not cool, is if like your job would be something in the Oasis, like basically your status in the game, how good you are in the game depends is similar to how you're gonna like your social standing in real life. Like you're successful in the game, you're gonna be rich in real life because I think you can make money in the game. You know, you can
Yeah.
find items, sell them. Like that could be a really dangerous thing where people are just living online now. It already exists. Like you can do VR chats now, like have an avatar and chat with random people in the world. And there's all these things that I didn't even know existed until I was speaking to younger coworkers with all this VR stuff. VR headsets apparently are like bigger every year, and people play video games with them a lot now. But that's like this is dangerous too, where like you're wasting your whole life on a video game. Although if it can make you income, but then you're using that income just to get even more stuff in the game. So at the end of the day, you're just living through that video game, and the people you know are all in this game too. What would be crazy, lastly, not to like make this a Ready Player One podcast, but if time worked different when you played in the Oasis and like 2 hours in the game is really only like 20 minutes in real life, where like you're not wasting that much time, that would be crazy. But then how mentally exhausted would you be, right, Eric?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like that Rick and Morty episode where Morty's like, it feels like 30 years have gone by, but so like he's been playing the game for 30 minutes at the arcade. I don't know if you're familiar with that episode, but yeah, that'd be taxing on the mind.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, I'll jump into my next movie, which this is a mini theme of the episode too, but this is another Criterion Collection Blu-ray. This movie is not available for like on any main streaming platform, but this movie is actually my 5th favorite movie of all time, like on my all-time favorite movie list. And it's a movie from Hong Kong. It's called Chungking Express. This movie, I want to talk about it just to like explain the importance of the movie for me in my life and how it changed, this movie, Chungking Express, changed how I view movies and made me want to fall down the rabbit hole of world cinema. And honestly, it's changed my life in the sense that, like, after watching this, I ordered and seeked out so many different movies in terms of from different countries and different styles. Because when I first watched this movie, which I had read about in a book, random book I bought at like probably Chapters. This movie had a bunch. This book had just a bunch of lists, like top 10 movies like this, top 10 movies like that, world cinema. So, anyways, I blind buy this Criterion on Amazon for like $40 probably, which now the movie is like out of print and super rare. So I'm glad I did that. I pop it in here, and it's like this movie's not even like remotely close to anything you've ever seen in terms of how the narrative's told, the style, the camera movement. It's subtitled, obviously, it's in Cantonese. But honestly, after finishing the movie for the first time, I was like, what did I just watch? Is there even a story? What is going on? Why is there random stylistic choices? But the weirdness and differentness kind of like, that's what hooked me. And then when I rewatched it, like the next week, I was hooked. And I understood more of the story, especially after reading about the movie too. It's, like I said, it's my 5th favorite movie of all time. Basically, just loosely, it follows 2 cops. It's like the movie's cut in half, the both cops' story in this huge Hong Kong city. Like the huge city of Hong Kong. And you just follow their day-to-day lives for that short period of time. But like I said, and it's about relationships and them interacting with, there's 2 female characters, 2 male characters, and both actresses and actors do a great job. But it's, like I said, Eric, super weird camera movements and music montages, and it's hard to describe because it's unlike anything you've ever seen. But it's not a straightforward narrative. It jumps around a lot, and it's unapologetic about it. Like you'll be doing a scene and then it'll jump to something else really quickly, and then you're like, okay, wait, what just happened? There's a lot of narration which does help to follow the story. But what I like about the movie is the quirkiness of it. Our characters are very, like, they're fun to watch on screen. They're relatable. They're human. There's nothing too serious about this movie, too. It's a very joyous movie and happy at the end of the day and puts a smile on your face. There's nothing dark in the movie. There's no, like, crazy murder or anything. It's just, like, about relationships and puts a smile on your face. Really good soundtrack too that I love. And visually, like as an art form, like this is definitely an art house movie. It's beautiful to look at, and because it's cut in half basically, like the two stories, it has a good pace in my opinion. I rewatched this movie a lot, and I always pick out stuff too that I missed the first few times I watched it. Um, the director, all his movies, I realized after watching his filmography, are like this, very style over substance. But this movie of his probably has the most substance than his other films. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say other than it puts a smile on your face. You don't always know what's going on, but especially on first time watch, but it's enjoyable enough to watch, and it's just a very unique film, Eric, is how I'll sum it up. And because I've seen it so many times, like that's why it's on my top 5 of all time, because I can go back to it, enjoy it like I did the first time, and I find nothing wrong with this movie at all. It's a perfect little time capsule in this little world in Hong Kong of these two cops and the interactions with our two lead actresses that are really good too. And I love this movie to death, Eric. Chunking Express from like '94. Great stuff. Oh, it's got the Shang-Chi villain. The villain in Shang-Chi, his dad, I believe, Tony Leung, he's one of our main characters. He's amazing in the movie. So there's a little reference there. So, yeah, great movie.
Okay, right on. Yeah, classic actor, I want to say. And, but yeah, no, I have not seen this movie, and it definitely does sound like something that's a different kind of watch. And knowing this, that it may not be a straightforward narrative and plot that we're used to encountering in movies is good to know for sure, because I do feel like sometimes with, particularly for me with foreign films, I kind of go into them thinking it'll just be like a movie that I watch, like a North American movie kind of thing with a start, middle, and end, and they tend to not always be like that, or sometimes they're presented a little differently. So this is good context, and no, well, knowing that it's one of your top 5 movies of all time definitely is something that I should watch at some point, but haven't gotten around to it. And but I know, knowing this though, it'll help me go into it with a different mindset, in that I won't really be surprised, but also you didn't really give up too much in there, so I'll find out what happens as I watch. So that's
awesome.
good to know. Mine is pretty much a straightforward movie now going forward. For my pick, it's a comedy movie that I went into with like honestly decent expectations, because it was a recommendation from my bro Zach. He said he watched this movie and that it was hilarious, and honestly, it 100% lived up to the hype for me. So this is The Heartbreak Kid, starring Ben Stiller, and there's a few other actors in there like Michelle Monaghan, Danny McBride, Rod Corddry is in there. A few Jerry Stiller, rest in peace. So he actually plays Ben Stiller's father in the movie, and honestly, you'll know within like 5 minutes if this is for you or not. It's definitely, I'd say, a raunchy comedy, like a stupid movie, sometimes inappropriate, but honestly, the comedy is inappropriate, you know? So this was that, and it was hilarious. Have you seen this movie, first of all, Matt? Have you seen The Heartbreak Kid?
Actually, you stumped me. Like, I know of it. I have not seen this movie.
Okay, so I do think you'd find it funny. It's on Netflix. This is basically about Ben Stiller's character, who, for the life of him, like, he's the heartbreak kid. He just can't figure it out when it comes to women. He gets himself into these brutal situations where there's just not a happy ending in sight for him, and this movie just continues on that trend. So the movie opens with basically he's going to his ex-girlfriend's wedding. Like, he was invited to her wedding. So that kind of just tells you that this guy is a loser, and he couldn't say no to get invited to her wedding. They're apparently on good terms, but he's just eating chirps at this wedding. But that's not the plot point, an important plot point whatsoever. We move on to different things. He meets someone else pretty early in the movie, and then from there on out, their relationship escalates, and they get into some interesting situations where she is a bit different than what he thought she was when they met, kind of thing. So a lot of this happens very early in the movie. So actually, you know what? It's not even a spoiler to give it away. Like he gets married to a woman super early in the movie. Like meets her, gets married, and from there they go on their honeymoon. Like the story all happens on their honeymoon. So you see them spend time there, and yeah, really funny. I don't really know what else to say on it, but again, it's that kind of like the classic 2000s style of comedy where they're letting it fly a little bit more freely in those kind of movies. So it's again a great performance from Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
It's a textbook Stiller in there, and Jerry Stiller, the guy brings it in every scene he's in. So would definitely recommend The Heartbreak Kid. Stupid movie, but I struggle to think that you won't laugh whatsoever watching this movie. That'd be it.
You're giving me ideas for my movie that I'm going to watch tonight, Eric. That's actually a good choice. I think Mackenzie would like that too. All I know about this movie is it's a remake from a 70s comedy, which I heard is hilarious too. And I remember with the trailer and Ben Stiller like losing his shit maybe a lot of the times,
or twice,
or like, or like I'm picturing a lot of like cringy Ben Stiller staple moments, like. Yeah, anyways, like uncomfortable situations he's put in, but that's just me like going off I remember from like almost 20 years ago now. So, no, I want to check this out, Eric. Kind of forgot about this movie's existence till you just brought it up. So that's awesome. The original is really well known, like in terms of like it was groundbreaking at the time, and the director, she was a very famous director, and this is one of her big hits. So. No, I'm gonna definitely check out this on it's on Netflix. You said that's perfect.
There's definitely a comparison to be made to Wedding Crashers in a sense, where dynamics wise, for certain characters, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that there are some characters that you could make a 1-to-1 comparable with Wedding Crashers and their dynamic with Ben Stiller specifically.
Okay. Good to know. That's like a little. Do you agree with me, Eric? That little period is like a golden age of comedies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like right, like 2002 to maybe 2010, or maybe even a shorter period. But the Will Ferrell, thinking about the Will Ferrell movies, and even Ben Stiller at a time, and Superbad, and the Judd Apatow stuff, like his early stuff. Definitely a good time to. That was a great time for comedies.
Definitely.
100%.
100%.
This one kind of slips under the radar, right? It's never mentioned in the breadth of the other ones, right?
So, I had never heard of this until Zach texted me, and he actually said, Heartbreak Kid, check it out. And then I just Googled Heartbreak Kid, and I saw the 1970s one first. I'm like, whoa, Zach, going with the old school vintage here. I'm like, oldies. But no, it was a 2007 remake, but great movie. Well, great movie's a stretch, but funny movie.
Right. Boy, you could say it's a great comedy. Like, that's hard to, like, people don't, like, associate comedy with great movies, but, man, the job they're trying to do, they accomplish it. It is a great movie.
Yeah.
And those movies always get dismissed at the awards or during any talk of serious movies and the great movies. They're rarely mentioned, but I think they should be. It's hardest genre to do as a comedy, 100%. It's hard to make people laugh.
It is.
Successful comedies are super hard to do. And it's honestly a genre I stay away from. Like, it's the one I watch the least because I know there's so many bad ones out there, and I'm so picky with my, like it's hard to make me. It's the hardest thing to do is to find a really good comedy. Rather watch. Anyways, I don't want to go off. I'm gonna go with a drama here, a courtroom thriller drama on Netflix. Primal Fear. Primal Fear came out in 1996. Stars Richard Gere and Laura Linney and Edward Norton. It's Edward Norton's appearance on the acting stage, his first big starring role, maybe his first one ever, actually. Edward Norton's a phenomenal actor, and I think he was even nominated for a supporting actor in this movie. But our main character is Richard Gere. He was big star in the 80s, 90s, starred in rom-coms like Pretty Woman, but also had starred in all these badass movies too, like American Gigolo, which is a great 80s movie. The Jackal, a Bruce Willis movie. Anyways, Richard Gere was like a really big name in the 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s. As he got older, he chose his roles more carefully, and he's a great actor. As well as Laura Linney. She's great. She's a prosecutor. He's the defense lawyer. Like I said, it's a courtroom lawyer movie with a murder case. Laura Linney from Ozark, among a million other movies. She's great in this. Early role for her, too. Starts off with a bishop or a cardinal getting murdered, like a bloody, like, killing via knife. And Edward Norton is found on the scene covered in blood. He's a previous altar boy. He's kind of, like, simple. Not simple. He's got, like, he has trouble explaining himself, and he's, like, misremembering. He has amnesia. We don't know what's going on at the beginning. Richard Gere in the movie being the media-seeking attention whore that he is, he wants the case right away. He doesn't care about morals or anything. He just wants fame, and, like, he's like, everybody deserves representation. I'm taking this case. The DA's office is like, this is an open and shut case. You DNA everywhere. He's covered in blood. But things are not what they seem. The more they start interviewing Edward Norton and you find out what's going on, you're like, all right, there might be more to the story here. I'm not going to reveal too much of the plot because I think this movie needs to be seen. Really good supporting cast too, Eric. You got Frances McDormand is in it as like, this is the same year she did Fargo, and in this she has a much smaller role, but great in every scene she's in. You'll recognize also, Eric, a lot of the side characters, familiar faces, like the judge and the other lawyers, basically. Good stuff. Edward Norton's the highlight of the movie, though. Like, he's right away, you're like, oh, this guy's a really good actor. A couple years later, he does American History X, gets nominated again, and I think like that solidified his career right there. Like 2 movies in 2 years where he's nominated for an Oscar, and he's had a great career, and he's still doing great. This movie, the highlights of this movie, like I said, are the acting and the dialogue, Eric. Very razor sharp dialogue, kind of funny, a lot of like lawyer talk if you like that stuff. Like if you like Suits and that lawyer world, it's great. Courtroom scenes are always fun to watch, in my opinion, and going back and forth, the depositions, the cross-examinations of witnesses. This movie features that, but it's not just that. There's other stuff going on too. This movie oozes 90s though, like just aesthetically, the looks, the way things are revealed and paced, kind of has what was that, the Harrison Ford, the TV show one with Jake Gyllenhaal, the Presumed Innocent vibe. It has a lot of that vibe.
Okay.
Crazy reveals. Like, this movie is known for like its last 30 minutes and the climax, what happens. And I don't want to say anything. I kind of want you to watch it and see for yourself. But it's known for its last finale, for the finale. And don't like look it up, or I hope no one's. You gotta go in blind in this movie. So Primal Fear, it's on Netflix. Really great movie. I remember renting it when I was younger, a teenager, and loved it. And rewatching it, to me, it's aged really well. So Primal Fear on Netflix. Great movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're listening to this or watching on YouTube, don't just text message me the ending of Primal Fear. Please, I want to just see it for myself. I've had this movie on my radar for a while. I haven't seen it, so I'll definitely be checking it out soon. But no spoilers, please. Thank you for listening or watching. Like and subscribe, of course. But that's like really all I can add to it. That breakdown was great, Matt. But I haven't seen it. Looking forward to it. I will, because it has been promoted on my Netflix feed based on what I've been watching. Which I'll actually throw one on that. I think it was on Netflix that I just watched. I'll have to confirm. But I'm pretty sure it was Netflix. This would be one that I definitely recommend. I saved it for... This is my last movie, by the way. Because this was my favorite one that I watched. Also on Netflix. Guy Ritchie's 2000's Snatch. So the movie is called Snatch. I don't know why I'm just listing them in this confusing way. Snatch is the name of the movie. So this movie for me has been one that has been talked about by my dad for the longest time, and that like, oh, you gotta check out Snatch, great movie. And we have it at my parents' house either on VHS or it's a PSP version of the movie, something like that.
Oh,
Like
wow.
there is a very vintage copy of Snatch somewhere in my parents' basement right now. I watched this on Netflix. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but hilarious movie. Like I went into this pretty blind in that, again, kind of like my first movie. This is a heist movie, or not a heist movie, but like a crime, corrupt, gambling, boxing plot with a lot of characters, a lot going on, and this kind of reminded me of Pulp Fiction in the sense where there's a lot of interwoven storylines that, while they're all happening in chronological order, Pulp Fiction, it's obviously presented in different orders, they all come together really at the end. And this movie was anchored by Brad Pitt's hysterical performance as Mickey, the pixie boxer. Man, this guy was killing me every time he was on screen. He's kind of living on this like caravan trailer park
gypsy
settlement with gypsies, and they're just finessing everybody who wants something from them because no one can understand a goddamn word these people are saying. So when it comes to negotiating with these people, they're just kind of sprinkling in 100 words in there that they're not being grasped whatsoever by poor Jason Statham and Stephen Graham trying to barter with them. But anyways, all this to say, Snatch, awesome movie. It really the story comes down to there's a robbery that happened where there was this 84 karat diamond that was stolen and was meant to be delivered to a party. It got lost along the way. There's a bunch of different groups coming in who want the diamond too, and then there's a boxing match that's fixed and one of the boxers gets killed. So then Brad Pitt subs in as the boxer. He's supposed to go down in the 4th round, doesn't do what he's supposed to, and then shit goes down from there. But there's a lot more to it than that. That's kind of just a general rundown of what happens. But man, all the characters involved, like I highlighted Jason Statham, Stephen Graham, they're kind of a tandem working together. Benicio del Toro's in it. The guy who plays Morgan from Walking Dead is in it. I don't know his name, but he was great in there. So there's a lot of different little groups that have their own small but important part to play in the final showdown with all the corruption, the gangsters behind the scenes pulling the strings. There's a dog involved. There's just a lot of actors you've seen in stuff. You'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. Really, really good stuff. So Snatch, strong recommend. I thought it was super funny too, and I liked a lot of the characters involved in the movie and didn't really know where it was going. Obviously, there's some stuff you've seen before, a bit at times predictable, but you don't really know who's going to be safe along the way. So kept me engaged the whole time. Funny movie, Snatch on Netflix and PSP possibly.
Eric, you just put a huge smile on my face. When I saw you had watched this and loved it, like I was super happy because this movie I absolutely adore. I think one summer I watched it like every week. Again, my dad got me into this movie too. I think it's a dad thing, must be.
It's a dad.
I didn't really get anything the first time I watched it. There were no subtitles back then. Like I watched like a rented at Blockbuster and I was like, what the hell is going on? After watching it like 20 plus times now, like it's one of my favorites. Like, do we want to talk about? Do I start with? First of all, everyone's freaking name in the movie. Everyone's got a cool nickname. Like Jason Statham, Turkish, and then there's Bluetooth Tony, Boris the Blade, Frankie Four Fingers, Bricktop. Like you said, Saul and Vincent, who are the two guys that own the pawn shop, and like one of them brings a dog, and that kind of like ties into the plot, like what's gonna happen with the diamond and. It's super fast paced and frantic, and Mickey too, Brad Pitt. And when they go to the gypsy caravan and Tommy, Stephen Graham, like one of his early roles, he's a phenomenal actor. Now everyone knows it, Al Capone and Boardwalk Empire and Adolescence, but he's just hilarious as Turkish's sidekick, Jason Statham, who's super unlike any other Jason Statham movie. He's like, he doesn't fight. He's kind of the brains, not the brawn in this movie, right? He might be the main character. You kind of get his perspective, his narration. The movie starts off with his narration and kind of goes back. Very, like you said, Tarantino-esque, Eric. Well said. Got like the same scene playing over from different perspectives. Great stuff. The dialogue is the highlight for me, though. Like, I quote this movie all the time with my parents. I got Mackenzie hooked on this movie. She's seen it 2-3 times now. She even rewatched it by herself one day. I was like shocked when she told me that. I'm like, oh, you like this movie this much now? And we always quote, especially the scenes with Saul and Vincent with Tyrone, the getaway driver, who's like immense and like struggles to get out of the car, and they're like staring at him like, oh my god, and fails to back up. Is a terrible driver, basically.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Bricktop, the gangster villain, he's got so many memorable lines. A whole speech on how to get rid of a body with a pig farm.
That quote was disgusting. Like, when he just gets into intricate details, I was like, oh, all right, let's wrap this up here, Brick.
Yeah. Yeah, he monologues a lot in the movie. You're right. And Dennis Farina's character, like the guy, he flies to England to try to like help solve the problem and ask Bullet Tooth Tony's help. Like that guy's freaking hilarious to me. I forget his name in the movie, but he's great. This movie strives on its all these wacky characters interacting together, and it's rapid fire dialogue. I like Guy Ritchie. Like, that's Guy Ritchie's staple. And you can see it in his, he's more like bigger, he's made bigger movies now in terms of budget and scope, but Snatch to me is his best movie by a mile. And he kind of stuck to the Snatch formula for his first 3-4 movies. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Revolver, and Rock and Rolla. Like, they're very similar and they're all great. And then he went, like, he did the Sherlock movies, Eric. He's doing bigger movies now, but like that Henry Cavill movie he just made, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Man from U.N.C.L.E., like, but Snatch is his bread and butter to me. This is what he excels at. Stylistic scenes, dialogue. He writes characters really well. He's a great writer. You want to see Jason Statham do something completely different, watch this movie. Brad Pitt. Yeah, the scene where, like, their Gorgeous George gets, like, punched by Brad Pitt, you're like, holy shit, what just happened? And like the aftermath of that is, I love that, and seeing Tommy's face. I can go on and on, Eric. You will be able to rewatch this movie the rest of your life, Eric, and pick up stuff you haven't seen, like pick up little things and enjoy it just as much. That's the biggest strength of this movie. Extremely rewatchable, and you'll be watching it the rest of your life. So I'm glad you loved it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Lived up to the hype for sure.
Honestly, I think this is right. This is I can't follow Snatch with any other movie. Like, this is a perfect way to close this out with this masterpiece, in my opinion. I'd call it maybe a gangster movie. I don't know.
Definitely.
It's hard to classify, right?
Dark comedy
gangster.
Dark comedy gangster for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I have nothing else to add. Like, that's a perfect way to end this episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I'll just say one thing. Like, I don't have anything to recommend at this point because I got all the movies out of the bag. I'll just give an update on my kombucha brewing. So this could maybe be a storyline that's followed on the pod. Tried to go with, well, it's not a failure yet, but you kind of know where I'm going with this now. But the first batch that I've tried to brew, I think I'm at like day 13 now, where between 10 to 14 days you're supposed to be able to start bottling and putting your flavoring in, right? Like, I'm just brewing black tea with sugar and water, and the yeast with the SCOBY that's in there, that's like your starter for kombucha, is supposed to eat the sugar and then produce eventually carbonation. So I'm tasting it every few days, and I'm going to taste it after this pod actually, and it's still a bit sweet, so I think I went too heavy on the sugar. And I will say, I'm just blaming this output on ChatGPT, who has never, as far as I'm concerned, never tasted kombucha in its life. So why am I asking it for a recipe for kombucha? I don't know. But for the second go, like, I'm not giving up, because I'm kind of expecting this to just be too sweet and be no good. But the second time around, I'm going to follow a YouTube video to a T by this guy who I watch his videos for a lot of recipes, sustainability. He's a huge fermenter as well, so we have that in common. His name is the YouTube channel is Life by Mike G, and this guy's done YouTube videos for over a decade now, and you can really
Oh
follow
wow.
his journey where he didn't have the setup that he does have now, didn't have the same knowledge and skill he does as he does now, and but I have found his recipes are very easy to follow, clear instructions, explains the science behind it all, and I'm gonna follow exactly his how to brew your own kombucha from scratch video, which I've watched quite a few times. But yeah, so I'm gonna try it again with this the SCOBY, like the starter for kombucha that I bought. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna try the other way to make your own kombucha, which you need like an unflavored bottle, which I didn't do that for this go around. I bought a
Mm.
pre-made SCOBY. So just wanted to give a little update on how that's going. I haven't given up with this batch yet, but it shouldn't be as sweet as it is right now based on how long it's been fermenting. So a bit disappointing, but every loss is a lesson, and I am
Mhm.
I'm not a quitter. If there's one thing
Mhm.
about me that can be said, so we'll be back, not giving up. Ginger Blackberry Kombucha will be brewed in 2025, and I will give an update on it at that point in time. That's it for random recommendations. Check out Life by Mike G on YouTube. Great stuff.
Awesome, Eric. I know you're definitely not a quitter, and every mistake you make, you're learning so much from, and you're not going to repeat. And sometimes the journey is it's going to be fun. Like your kombucha journey is you're going to look back at it and look back at it fondly. Like, oh, remember when I did that the first time?
Mm,
What was I thinking? And that's awesome. I like these little updates too, and it's just going to be even sweeter,
mm.
pun
Pun
intended, when
intended,
you
yeah.
actually nail it. When you nail it in the end, it's going to be even better because you worked your ass off for it. So
Nice. Yeah,
it's
that's why
awesome.
I wanted to say it on the pod, just have it immortalized in Easy Conversations history, and you can all follow
For sure.
along in the brewing journey. But yeah, no, that's it for me. I don't have anything to recommend. I've been really, these are the movies I've watched, shows, not too many, and still, actually, I'm reading Red Rising right now. Actually, I'm more than halfway through.
Okay.
Solid stuff right now. I'm enjoying it. It's good stuff.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah,
We'll have a discussion on that after the first book.
definitely.
That's one that I think the series elevates. So
Okay, nice.
I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much.
No,
Yeah, that's it for me too, Eric.
yeah.
It's been hard to watch media right now, but as summer's winding down, like I'm gonna be watching a lot more stuff with the colder weather coming in, and like at the end of the year, that's when I grind a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. So it's been a good year so far. I'm loving the movies and TV shows so far, and music. So can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, movies I'd maybe want a bit more. There have been some good ones, but I haven't had that. Like, there hasn't been that Dune Part 2, that
Or Dune, yeah.
Godzilla minus Uno, that Oppenheimer. Like, I'm still waiting for those big
Right.
dogs, but I'm sure maybe a Bugonia or something along those lines will come around and blow us away. I'm excited. Again, Caught Stealing, and then the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, one more battle, another battle or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah.
So, oh, I'm sure there's great movies still to be watched, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, that's it for me though. A lot of fun, Matt. Hopefully, we gave you guys some good recommendations, movies to watch on, for the most part, on streaming, I think. And yeah, any final notes for the listeners, Matt?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you enjoyed our movie talk. I had a lot of fun discussing movies with you, Eric. Always a blast. It's one of my favorite things to do. Um, I hope we gave you guys good recommendations, and throw us some recommendations of yours. Just
Yeah.
message us Instagram or on Facebook. Let me know what you're watching or what you've liked. Yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast, guys.
Actually, I just gotta throw out a shout out to my guy Mike. He submitted The Prestige and another Nolan movie. Forgetting, but The Prestige for sure as a movie to watch. Which, if you haven't seen The Prestige, check it out. Great
Oh yeah,
movie. A lot of twists in there as well. And The Big Lebowski. He said anything by the Coen brothers, really. So yeah, also great movie.
solid.
Definitely recommend both those two movies. I'd be due to rewatch, honestly, both those movies, so I will just do that at some point. So thanks, Mike. And yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Enjoy. Hockey's right around the corner. baseball playoffs coming up, I think. I don't really follow the Blue Jays. And yeah, peace.